You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. Welcome to Critical Mass Radio with me, your host, Roberto Lieber, commonly known as Rob Freeman. Thought I'd throw a bit of Latin in there for you. Interestingly enough, to do with the Latin, the word for free is liberum, and the word for book is libro. Just thought I'd throw that in. Are we all going to be made free from a book? The Bible? I don't know. Maybe. Anyway. So welcome to my show. It's Out of the Matrix. Tonight I've got a bit of a thing going tonight. I'm calling it No Excuses. Something happened midweek. I was listening to Paul Giovanni's show and Paul Rippon's show. And a lot of things made sense. I think it was Wednesday night's show. Paul Rippon said he was talking about words and stuff, and he was talking about getting off his arses and doing something. I've been studying this stuff quite a long time now, and I've realised that I've kind of been guilty of this myself. I've passed information on. I've tried to help many people, but what have I really done? We need to get proactive, don't we? I'm just going to check in the chat box. I always call it chat box. I'm just going to check in the chat room, make sure everything's all right. Are we loud and clear in the chat room, lads? Can everybody hear, lasses? Can you hear my voice okay? Anybody? Am I loud enough? Am I coming through loud? Okay, we'll carry on anyway. I'm just messing about with my mic here. Yeah, so we need to get off his arses. So I've called tonight's theme, really, No Excuses. So tonight's show, it's about freedom as usual, but it's about uniting together. It's about, let's just stop talking, because all we've really done, we're passing on information, which is great. I mean, a few years ago, we just sent out positive thoughts, and then we started passing information, and really, where's it gone from there? We just seem to be talking, don't we? And there are people doing stuff. I'm not knocking anybody, but I think now, that's the reason I played that song at the first, because we need to get united, and we need to do something. We need to do something now, don't we? Before it's too late. So, let's get off his arses, let's club together, and let's start doing stuff proactively. United as a group, basically, same as the song says. And when that's done, when we group together, we need to group together, we need a body of people, we need to meet up. I mean, Paul Giovanni's really pushed this on this week, and it did something in me. On Wednesday night, I think it was, after Paul Rippon's show, everybody went off the chat room, and I sat there. And I sat there for about 20 minutes, and I realised the dire situation we are really in. And I thought to myself, both Pauls, they're right. We need to get cracking now. There's a time limit on it, and we've edged in front. We are slightly in front, and I think we're finally taking over them. But we've got to keep it going. They've had 2,000 years plus of focused intent. And what have we been doing? Well, we do a bit, don't we? And we don't, but we've been reacting, as Paul quite rightly says. Let's stop reacting. Let's stop waiting for them. We've edged in front. Let's get going. Let's get organised. We need to meet up once a month, physically meet up face to face. We need to get a game plan. We need to delegate positions to different people who all have, I don't know, specific talents or abilities. And we need to hit these. I got in trouble last week for calling them tosspots all the time. So we need to hit these psychos that think they have the right to run everything. We need to hit them from as many different angles as possible. We need to as many people as possible, and we need to be on it 24/7. We need to stay focused, and we need to get on it and get together. So that's the theme of tonight's show. So the theme is No Excuses. So that's me anyway. This is my second show now. I did all right last week. I managed to get through it without blowing anything up, so I suppose that's all right. I'm just going to check back in the chat room. Is my voice coming through okay? Yeah, probably. Okay, we'll carry on. So, do you know, I've been listening to the hosts on this station, and some of them have got really great broadcasting voices, haven't they? I listened to my first show last week on podcast, and I cringed. I thought, oh, God, is that what I sound like? It wasn't the stuff I was talking about, but I mean, you've got some great hosts on there, haven't you? You've got Ben Emily Jones. who does the, I can never say this, HP1, well, I don't know what show it is. I'll tell you in a bit when I've got it right. You've got Brian, the boxing vicar, great voice. Both Pauls sound great. And then I listen to my voice and I think, that bloody Yorkshire accent. I mean, that slightly nasally Yorkshire, thick-sounding accent. But anyway, so I'm not a presenter, I'm not a host, but at least I've got some good information. So, and you know what I heard myself last week? Is anybody old enough to remember this advert? He was a great baker, our dad. He was up before it were light. He was up before it were dark sometimes. Can you remember that voice? Well, that's what I sounded like to me. Anyway, moving on. A bit of a whinge bucket, aren't I? Right, I'm about the only host on CMR that's not actually mentioned the Olympics, and I'm purposely doing this. I want to stay away from this shit that is the Olympics, but you can't, can you? You can't ignore it. So, everybody else is doing it, and I thought, well, it started, hasn't it? So, I better give it a little bit of attention. So, I'm not going to speculate what's going to happen, fake alien invasion, false flag terrorist attack, natural disaster, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. Hopefully nothing. So what I thought I'd do is, well, it started and I can't ignore it. So, what I thought I'd do for you is just read out 10 Olympic facts since it started, I think it was 1896, that you may not be aware of. So, just let me hang on, because I've got a load of papers here. Okay, so 10 Olympic facts that you may or may not know. Right. Okay, number one. The gold medals are actually 92.5% silver, and have just been covered lightly in gold. Yeah. Skinflints, aren't they? So I wonder what silver medal's made of. Anyway, number two. Russian Martin Klein was too exhausted to compete in the 1912 Greco-Roman wrestling final after his semi-final with Finland's Alfred Azikainen because it took 11 hours. Jesus. Imagine that. 11 hours wrestling with the same bloke. I think they kind of liked each other, didn't they? Okay, next one. The 1900 Paris Games included a long jump and a high jump for horses. Hey? Sounds strange, doesn't it? Number four. Contestants at the original ancient games at Olympia competed stark bollock naked. Wow. Imagine that nowadays. Imagine 4x100 men's relay. That baton change would be a bit strange, wouldn't it? Okay, moving on. What's this one? Oh. Anyone caught streaking at this year's Olympics will be fined £20,000. So times have changed there, haven't they? Number six. Oh, I like this one. Ethiopia's Abibi Bikila, what a name, won the 1960 Rome Marathon whilst running barefoot. So he did almost 26 miles barefoot. Wow. When he finished, they said, you got gold, mate, but well done, you got to go and do a lap of honour now, mate. All the way around, just wave your arms. Imagine a lap of honour on that, 25.5 miles. Okay, number seven. Oh, she's thick, this woman. American Margaret Abbott won the women's golfing gold medal. Won the women's golfing gold medal at the Paris 1900 Games whilst visiting the World's Fair that was on at the same time. She took part in what she thought was a mess-about golf tournament to celebrate the fair and set off home back to the USA not knowing that she had become the first ever American gold medalist. How thick was she? Okay, number eight. Oh, I like this one. Having won gold for decathlon at the 1984 LA Games, I'll say that again, LA Games, Daley Thompson was asked by an American TV crew how he felt. Thompson, speaking to live American TV viewers, said, I haven't been this happy since my granny caught her tit in a mango. Sorry, I'm cracking up as I'm reading it. Nice one, Daley, like it. 22 more now. Number 9. Oh, this is good as well. 6 out of the 8 contestants in the women's 800 metres in Amsterdam in 1928 collapsed at the finish line. Notice, not over the finish line, at the finish line. And the event wasn't run again for another 32 years. Blimey. Can you imagine first lap round being in 8th position and you're thinking, shit, I should have trained, shouldn't I? And you keep going, and what do you see in front of you? 6 people collapsing. I mean, you could just stroll around stuffing, I don't know, donuts in your gob, couldn't you? And forever you've got silver medal. So, very last one now, and that's me done with this Olympics. crap. Number 10. I can't read me own writing. Oh yeah. Every female competitor bar one at the 1976 Olympics had to undergo a sex test. The exception was Great Britain's Princess Anne. So, that's unfair, isn't it? How come she didn't have to have a sex test then, to prove she was a woman? Mind you, you won't get near her blood, would you? Or anything that comes out of her, really. She did, however, qualify for the equestrian event on her own without an horse. That's a lie, actually. I threw that bit in. So, that's me. That's me done with the Olympics. I've had enough of that. So, I just want to say thanks a lot to everybody for your kind emails and texts that were sent through to me, saying congratulations on last week, which I was quite proud of, really. In fact, somebody sent me an anonymous email. I don't know how they managed that. And I think it was a lady, because she gave me a bit of praise, really, because she said, Rob Freeman, I've met you a few times, and you've got the perfect face for radio. So, thanks a lot, love, wherever you are. I think it's a compliment, isn't it? Is it? Anyway. Also, on one of these emails, I got asked to read this out again, and I know I did it last week, but I had a bloody telephone going off. All phones are off, by the way, this week. But I had a telephone, my landline were ringing like mad. So if I could just take a minute, I'm just going to find this piece of paper here. Yeah. It was, I read a no conspiracy thing about the occult world government, and it was the similarities between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy, and I've had about 4 text messages and about 10 emails saying, can you read that out again? So, if you lot will just bear with me, because I know you've heard it before, but it is good. So, rustle of paper. Got it? Hang on, I'm just going to blow the dust off it. Right. So this is people that think there's no conspiracy, there's nobody pulling the strings. I know I've read it before, but just bear with me. It only takes 2 minutes. There's no conspiracy, there's nobody pulling the strings, there's all different groups working, there's no synchronicity, there's no numerology. I'm going to read you this out. Again, I've heard this bloody 50 times now, and it still amazes me. So, it was, I found this out in a David Icke book, like I said last week, and I came across Jordan Maxwell reading it out. Sorry, just taking a swig there, dry throat. Okay, so, it's the similarities between Abraham Lincoln and John F. Kennedy. Okay, I only take 2 minutes, this guys. So these two were the only American presidents who were successful in taking back the printing and issuing of money from the criminal private banking cartel and putting it back in the hands of the American government. Both were assassinated. For those who believe world events just happened by accident, listen to this. Okay, here we go. Abraham Lincoln was elected to Congress in 1846. Kennedy was elected to Congress in 1946, exactly 100 years later. Abe Lincoln was elected to be president in 1860. Kennedy was elected to be president in 1960. Both their surnames contained 7 letters. Both were concerned with civil rights. Both of their wives lost children whilst living in the White House. Both presidents were shot on a Friday. Both presidents were shot in the head. Lincoln had a secretary named Miss Kennedy. Kennedy had a secretary named Miss Lincoln. Both were assassinated by Southerners. Both were succeeded by Southerners. Both Southerners who succeeded them were named Johnson. Andrew Johnson, who succeeded Lincoln, was born in 1808. Lyndon Johnson, who succeeded Kennedy, was born in 1908. John Wilkes Booth, who assassinated Lincoln, was born in 1839. Lee Harvey Oswald, who assassinated Kennedy, was born in 1939. Both assassins were known by 3 names. Both assassins' names are comprised of 15 letters. Lincoln was shot in a theatre named Ford. Kennedy was shot in a car made by Ford called a Lincoln. John Wilkes Booth ran from a theatre and was caught in a warehouse. Lee Harvey Oswald ran from a warehouse and was caught in a theatre. And the best bit at the end, a week before Lincoln was shot, he was in Monroe, Maryland. And a week before Kennedy was shot, he was in Marilyn Monroe. So, there we have it. That's the last time I'm reading that out. Okay, guys, we'll have a tune here. Okay. I want to get on to, well, not just yet, but I want to get on to what we were talking about last week with trusts and stuff. I've talked about it quite a lot, really. And I wanted to talk about who I think is the back of it all. But after hearing Paul Rippon's show, with he had Santos Bonacci on, I really love that stuff, that astrotheology stuff. I love that. When we had him on, see what I mean? I'm part of the team now, aren't I? When Paul had him on, I love the stuff he was doing. I've been listening to that stuff for quite a long time now. And I thought, that is the basis of what reality is, really. So then this stuff I we're going to move on to is who's at the back of it all. You know, like people say, the Illuminati and the royal family and all these different groups. And my research shows me, I was going to tell you last week about this certain institution, which you've probably all guessed now, but I've got some interesting facts on them, and I thought, I completely changed my show from Wednesday, and I thought, does it really matter? I mean, does it really matter who's at the back of it all and who's pulling strings? I thought, because they're all a set, I'm going to have to say, aren't I? They're all a set of tosspots, aren't we? And we don't like them, do we? And really, I'm thinking, does it really matter who's pulling the strings, who's causing what? We know what they're doing. We've got to find solutions. And like I said, no excuses. We've got to group together and we've got to do something. And then I thought, hang on, I had a change of heart about 8 hours ago. And I thought to myself, well, if my research does point to a certain institution, then really it is quite important who's pulling strings, because how can we ever get results and know what we're doing if we don't really know who's at the back of it all? So I'm going to cover that in a bit. I know you've all guessed it, but there's some really good information on that. So for now, I just want to talk a little bit about the way things are headed. I'm just going to have a quick look in the chat room, and if anyone's got anything to say. Yeah, Philip, Green Day, yeah, the amazing Philip Makes Movies. Our pop quiz champion, I should imagine. So, yeah, not much in there, so we'll nip back. Right, what I'm going to say is, I wanted to talk about where we're headed financially. We're all waiting for this financial crash, aren't we? A cashless society, that's what we're looking at, aren't we? We're looking at, I think cash only makes up about 3% of money anyway. So what is going to happen? Well, we're all speculating, I've been speculating for about 2 years now, is when is this economic crash coming and what can we do about it? And I know quite a few hosts have raised this point, and I'm not sure really, like everybody else, what's going to happen. They want us on electronic money, don't they? Everything has to be electronic transfer. That's all they bother about. They don't want us having any cash. It's like now, if you go into a shop and, I don't know, you stick your card in that machine, I have that chip and pin thing, don't I? It's useless. So I'm trying to buy, I don't know, 20 quid worth of stuff. If it doesn't work, I can get my cash out, can't I? But what happens when there is no cash about? Well, they're already phasing checks out. What happens if everything's electronic? Well, they can switch off that chip, can't they, whenever they want, as we know. So I'm thinking, what is going to happen? So we've got this financial crash looming over us anyway, and then we've got this, it's all headed and manufactured and geared up by not going to call them that name again, but whoever runs it, to orchestrate a cashless society. So, what can happen? Well, I've been thinking about this. And I've been covering a thing called promissory notes, which, even though cash, we know it's fiat currency and it's worth bollocks, isn't it? There's nothing backing it, as we know. So I've been having a go at looking at promissory notes, which cash is really. It's a promise to pay, although it never gets fulfilled. And the only thing I can really think of is that what's going to happen is, when we, hopefully we won't, but if we do it a cashless society, I'm thinking, well, what are people going to do? So what I've 60% pretty confident what might happen is that it might be a good thing. I know it sounds stupid, and we don't want a cashless society, and I hope the Roger Hayes thing takes off with the lawful bank. But I think when we do get to that stage, if and when, and I hope we don't, or if the financial crash happens, before Roger Hayes gets the lawful bank up and running, there's going to be a gap. There's going to be, I don't know how long it'll be, but there'll be a bit of a gap, won't there? And so I think what might happen is back to the old days, and I think private promissory notes might be the thing. So I thought, well, how would that work? So let's have a look at what could happen. So there's no cash about, everything's electronic, but we still want goods and services and bits off people. So what I think might develop, and maybe it won't, and maybe it'll happen for a short time, I don't know, but what would be a good idea is, let's say, let's let's say Philip makes movies. Let's say he's brilliant making winter coats. It's a bit like the old barter system, but it's better. So Philip makes movies. Sorry, mate, it's nothing personal, but I can't think of anybody else's name. So Philip makes movies. You make winter coats. Brilliant. I can get all the chickens. So I go up to Philip and I say, "Hi, Philip. I could do with a coat, really." And you say, "Oh, what have you got for me?" And I say, "Well, I'll swap you some chickens for a coat." And you say, "Brilliant. Okay, so we do the deal. Brilliant. Swap it. No problem." 6 months later, I come back. I think, well, that coat was brilliant for winter. I come back again. And I'm chatting with you, and Philip says, "I need some more chickens." And I say, "Well, Philip, I don't really need a coat. I've already got one." And you say, "All right, I tell you what. Give me those chickens, and I'll write you my own private promissory note out. And you can come back at any time. I'll sign it, I'll stamp it, and you can come back at any time you want and bring me that promissory note back. And you can have a coat whenever you want it. You can wait a year, 2 years, but I'm indebted to you, and I'll honour it." I can't say that word. "I'll honour it. So that is a private promissory note. So I'll go away happy." So imagine then a couple of months passes, and I bump into, let's say, who can we pick on? I don't know. We bump into Paul Giovanni. And Paul Giovanni says to me, "Oh, hey Rob, I could do with some chickens." And I say, "All right, no probs. What have you got?" And he says, "I've got fruit." And I said, "Oh, I'm not bothered about fruit." And he says, "I'll tell you what then. If you don't want fruit," I say to him, "I'll tell you what then, I'll give you some chickens, but I've got a promissory note here. If you take this promissory note and I arrange it with Philip, and he takes it to Philip then." Sorry, my mic's going dodgy. Hang on, whoa, just give it 2 minutes. Okay. He takes the promissory note to Philip and he can cash in on those winter coats. And does that make sense, or I just balls that up? So basically what I'm saying is, we're using a unit there of promissory notes that we all honour, which is how cash develops in the first place. So maybe that's how it's going to be headed. I don't know for sure. But if it does happen, and we've got no cash, that's the only thing I can think of, to be honest, until it all settles down. But let's hope Roger Hayes rushes on and gets his lawful bank thing sorted. Anyway, so I don't want to talk too much about cashless society or money, because I'm not that clued up on it, to be honest. Yeah, Katie Goodman there. I like that. I didn't mess it up. Yeah, but they have, haven't they? Yeah, they've really messed it up. Or have they messed it up? Nah, it's part of their plan, isn't it? They've messed it up for us, haven't they? Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about, I don't really want to do this, but I've studied so hard on it, so I want to give you some information. And I know you're not going to agree with it all, and you don't have to agree with it, as we've said before. Everybody's falling out and arguing who's behind it all. I know it's not that important. Well, this is important to me, because if we can identify who we think are pulling the strings, then we can do something about it. So I've been studying quite a long time now about who I think, well, my research has just led me there, basically. And it's to do with the trust stuff that I was talking about. I mean, I keep harping on about this trust stuff, don't I? And it's to do with that again, and there's a particular institution that I know most people probably know that they're really high up, but I believe, and I hate that word believe. I don't know why I say that, because it's got the word lie in the middle, hasn't it? Belie. I know in my heart that this particular institution are right at the top as you can possibly humanly go. And I know they're at the top because the effect that they've had on everybody's lives for, I don't know, the last 1,000, 2,000 years has been immense, really. So I know we all talk about, like I said before, the Illuminati, Bilderbergers, I don't know, Rothschilds, Zionists, British monarchy, and they all are playing a part. But my research has took me pretty far down the road now to think that I think it's this institution. So, without further ado, and I know you've all guessed it, I'm just going to dip into this chat room, see if anybody's saying anything about it. I know Philip Makes Movies guessed it last week. Paul says the mafioso. Yep, they are a type of mafioso. You're right, but the mafioso work for them, Paul. And obviously, it is the Vatican. Now, I think it's important. This I was going to just leave this and say, well, what's it matter who's pulling the strings and calling the shots? But what spurred me on is there's some great work being done by Kevin Annett, who's, I think it's September 15th, where he's doing something about him. He's taking them to court and he's going to hammer them, isn't he? With the help of our Lisa, our lovely Lisa, she's helping as well. So I thought, well, we need to get proactive, and the theme of this show is no excuses. We have got no excuses. We need to get together. We need to join different causes, and we need to do something every single day proactively. So we need to support Kevin Annett. So the reason I've got this information here, I thought I'm not going to leave it. I'm going to read you some interesting stuff out. So we're talking about the Vatican here. I'm just shuffling my papers here because what I've done is I've got a lot of information that I've got together over the last couple of years, and I seem to have built a mountain here. So I want to put it in order. Give us 2 seconds. Right. So we know there's different groups working. They've all got some influence, but my research has shown me, and I think it's the Vatican, but I don't know if you can recall last week that the Vatican is split into 3 sections. You may be aware, you may be not. So we've got the Pope, we've got the Papa. Everybody knows him, he's the public face. So he's the public face of Catholicism, really. Now, has anybody seen this Pope we've got? Joseph Ratzinger. Have a look, I tell you what, Google, go on Google Images and put him in. Just have a look at the photograph of this chap. When he knows he's been photographed, he looks alright. You have a look at him when he's not posing for the camera and somebody's took a snapshot of him. I'll tell you what, this guy, Joseph Ratzinger, a Nazi, by the way, if you look in his eyes, when he doesn't know he's been photographed, well, he looks evil. I've never seen evil so personified in a human being. So anyway, I don't think he's... Oh, sorry, I'm shivering when I look at him. But like I say, go on Google Images and have a look at him. So we've got Joseph Ratzinger, the current Pope. There's also another section of this. It's actually the unholy Trinity. There's always 3, have you noticed? It's always a Trinity. We've got the cult of the Vatican, and it is a cult. They even call themselves a cult. The Roman Catholic Church, with the Pope as the figurehead and the public face of it. We've also got, within that, the second part, and it's a group called the Jesuits. Now, I've been studying these Jesuits. I first heard about them when I was a small kid. And I thought, well, what's the difference? Why are they different to the Pope in Rome and the Vatican? And I found out some unbelievable information about the Jesuits. Now, a lot of people have heard of these, but don't really know what they are. And what I found out is that the Jesuits is an order, and it's inside the Vatican and works alongside the Vatican in tandem, if you like. And the leader of the Jesuits, I think the Jesuits were originally called the Jesus Society. Yeah, that's right, the Jesus Society. Anyway, so there's an organisation within an organisation within an organisation sort of thing. Trust within a trust within a trust again. So we've got Joseph Ratzinger, the current Pope, a Nazi, but you don't get to find that out. Then we've got another I can't, hang on, my teeth aren't working, just hang on a minute. Yeah, that's better. And we've got another organisation in with them called the Jesuits. Now, what are these all about? What do they do? Well, I found out that the Jesuits have a leader called the Superior General. You may or may not know this, but it's really interesting. So the Jesuits have a leader called the Superior General. The current one, I think, is Adolfo Nicholas. So he's in charge of the Jesuits. They work in tandem alongside the Pope, who's the public face. And there's a third section of this unholy Trinity, and it's called it's actually the Knights of Malta. And they're the third section of it, and what they are, believe it or not, they're the militia. They're the hitmen. The secret militia, actually. This is the third part of the unholy Trinity. Now, the secret militia, this Knights of Malta, I think they're called the Sovereign... What's the name? That's it. Sovereign Military Order of Malta, SMOM. And these guys, well, you've got to be military or ex-military to enter this. And these are the hitmen. So, like Paul Giovanni quite rightly said, it is mafiosa. So you've got these 3 sections, and really you only ever really see the public face, which is the Pope. So just going back to the Jesuits, this leader, this Superior General, he's often referred to as the Black Pope. Now, it's nothing to do with race, and it's nothing to do with skin colour, but he always wears black. And what I found out is that the Jesuits and the Pope working together, anything they need doing, they call it the big boys, don't they? This Knights of Malta, this hit squad, basically, this secret hit squad. I think they run as a charity as well, but that's a front anyway, isn't it, as we know. But I found out from some deep research that I think the Superior General is actually a head and advises the Pope. When it comes out, they're brothers, they work together, but when the final decision comes, it is the Superior General that actually makes that final decision. And these two men, if you go on Google Images and just put these two chaps up, you'll always see Adolfo Nicholas wearing black, and you'll always see the Pope in white. And so what I did is I Googled in celebrities, famous people, heads of state, all dignitaries, and Rothschilds, every single one of them pictured with the Pope are all kissing his hand. Even the Queen, everybody. So based on that, I started studying even more. And in my opinion, and from my research, these two men are the most powerful and probably the most evil men on earth, and are calling the shots. So they've got a secret militia called the Knights of Malta, and they're making decisions that run absolutely everything. Now, if we go back to the court stuff and the law, the reason we don't win in court is because it is a church, and it's under the direct guidance of this Vatican cult that encompasses all those three things, including the secret militia. So this unholy trinity, basically. So the Jesuits, I want to talk a bit about the Jesuits because they're the ones that call the shots but stay in the background. That's why he's called the Black Pope, because he's there in the shadows. So originally the Jesuits were called the Society of Jesus, or the Jesus Company, and they were formed properly in about 1540 by a guy called Ignatius of Loyola. So they've been around quite a long time. I think they were first conceived in the 1530s, and they came into their own in 1540. So I'm going to jump forward to 1769. I'm trying to condense this because I've got so much information that I've been doing, but I want to condense it all. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a history, lesson. Oh God, listen to me at lesson. I'm just going to give you a bit of history. So in 1769, there was a power struggle between the Pope and the Jesuits. Pope Clement was to sign a bull. A bull is a bullus, which is a seal, basically, to disband the Jesuits. So they've argued between them. So before he had a chance to do this is back in 1769, remember. The night before he was able to do this, it was made by the Jesuit Superior General, Lorenzo Ricci. So finally, after a lot of bitterness between the groups, with the help of Adam Weishaupt, remember we spoke about him last week, the founder of the Bavarian Illuminati. It was formed incorporating the Jesuits on May the 1st, 1776. So, the Jesuits they came up through power. First it was the Pope, and there was a power struggle there. So, because the Pope had the power, the Jesuits weren't doing too well. There were plenty of arguments. So what did they do? With the help of Adam Weishaupt, the criminal lawyer that he is, they formed the Bavarian Illuminati, and this was in 1776. 3 years before that, in 1773, the Pope had successfully disbanded the Jesuits. So I'm thinking, well, I thought they were all muckers. I thought they were all mates. But obviously they have arguing between them, don't they? They have power struggles, and it is a struggle for power. Which one's on top? This is how this reptilian brain, ego-minded, hierarchical system works, doesn't it? You have to fight each other. It's who's on top and who can I climb. It's this corporate stuff again, isn't it? So anyway, the reason I'm going on about these Jesuits is because since that time they've now come to fruition, and they've taken over. So this Illuminati, going back to the Bavarian Illuminati, they really helped the Jesuits get back in power, and I guess that's what it was for in the first place. So, sorry, I'm rustling papers again. So we've got the Vatican cult, and nowadays the Jesuits have taken over, although they stay in the background because they don't want all the flack from it. And like I said, they've got the Knights of Malta, the hitmen and the unholy trinity. And from about 1814 towards the end of the Napoleonic Wars, Pope Pius VII, so this is 1814 now, issued an order restoring the Jesuits back into the Vatican, the same as it had been before the suppression of 1773. So the unholy trinity is now complete, and it was and still is wreaking havoc. So all these hideous murders, tortures, they're responsible for it. They're responsible for the law. They're responsible for everything. They're responsible for the bankrupting of nations, all sorts. So I thought to myself, well, how have they done it? And you're not going to believe it, but it all comes back to trusts again. So, I just want to make an announcement. Last week, I announced that the first written down trust was in the year 1502. I want to correct that, actually. I don't know where my head was. It was 1302, actually. So, bearing that in mind, how have the Vatican, aided by the Jesuits, with the secret militia, Knights of Malta, how have they done all this? So I've got this information here, and it's just fell together in the right order for me. And so how they've done it is a system of trusts. And I'm going to read you, I've got the trusts here. There's 4 trusts, basically, that have allowed the Vatican, and I believe, to be at the top of the pile. Now, again, we can say, well, what's it matter who's at the top of the pile? And it does matter, because I know Kevin Annett's taking the Vatican to court, but they run the whole court system. The reason they run the court system is that it's not a court, it's a church, like I've said many, many times. And it's sacred law. And that's how Roger Hayes has been locked up, and many others that shouldn't have been locked up. Because the judges, magistrates, the legal profession, they are working under what's called sacred law. And the ones at the top of the sacred law is the Vicar of Christ himself, the public face, the Pope. Now, he believes that he is in direct contact with God, and everybody else is below him. And this is why courts are doing what they're doing. Now, I keep harping on about mirroring things back, and I've done it myself with the trust, as I've told you before. So how do we mirror it back? Well, first we've got to identify who we think is at the top and what's happening in court. And I'm 99.9% sure it is the Vatican, with the Jesuits in the background, in the shadows, pulling the strings, making the final decisions, but the Pope being the public face of all sweetness and light. So we know court is a church. So how have they managed to do it? Well, they've passed 4 trusts. The first one was the first express trust that I was talking about earlier in 1302. And this was passed by Pope Boniface. Pope Boniface, most people say. Boniface VIII. And he passed the first express trust, and it was called a papal bull, which is a seal. And he passed it in 1302. And it's called Unum Sanctum, the Holy One. Now this trust, now remember I said a trust can be verbal or it can be written down. Well, they've passed the first express trust on paper, which was this one in particular, one in 1302. And nobody's come back and argued. Nobody's said anything. So they're in charge. They are general executors of that trust. And this first one set the other 3 up. And so the Unum Sanctum in 1302 declares that there is no salvage, there is no salvation outside the church. This is the trust that sets up the other 3. So if there's no salvation outside the church, so unless you're a Catholic, unless you're in the Catholic Church, there's no salvation for you. So that was the first one that set it up. And he was a great character, wasn't he? Pope Boniface. He was a child murderer, a child molester. He sacrificed people. What just an evil man. So basically, he sets this up in 1302. And so then we have to jump forward. So that's the first one that set it up. And now 3 more trusts, papal bulls, if you like, seals, were passed over the following years. So the first one sets it up. So the very first trust that came after that came in 1455, I believe. Yep, I've got so many papers. In fact, you can get these papal bulls that have all been passed. You can get a full list off Google somewhere. I mean, they've passed many, many papal bulls, seals, if you like. Apparently all these papal bulls are supposed to be buried under the Vatican, but I don't know how true that is. So they passed these papal bulls in 1455, Romanus Pontifex. This was passed by Nicholas V. So what did this do? Well, this sanctifies the seizure of non-Christian lands and encourages the enslavement of natives. This trust, in effect, took away our real property. So the first one sets it up, and this one in 1455 takes away our real property, our lands. Let me jump forward, not too many years, less than 30 years now, to 1481, June 21st. Another papal bull was passed, which is a trust, these are all trusts, by Pope Sixtus IV, called Attorney Regis. Attorney, that's where we get the word attorney from, isn't it? Attorney Regis called King Eternal. This trust takes away all our personal property. So, do you know, as a kid, just digressing here a bit, I always wonder why they always said possession's 9/10 of the law. Have you ever heard that said? I wonder why that is. And I used to think of that as a kid, and what I realise now is, if you own something, let's say you own a fish tank, why is possession only 9/10 of the law? Why is it not 10/10? And what I realised is they always leave that 1%. So if you owe somebody money, and they can take it back. If you owned it 10/10, it'd be theft, wouldn't it? So very cleverly done. So Attorney Regis 1481. This takes away all your personal property. And then we jump forward to the last one. So this is, bear in mind, the first one set it up. We've had two more, and they're all trusts. In 1531, Pope Paul III passed the trust called Sublimis. We think it's called Sublimis Dei, or maybe Convocation. This is the big one. This is the one that finishes off, guys. This is the trust that uses the birth certificate. This is the nasty one. This is the claim of right on our souls. Nobody's argued back. Nobody's said you can't do that. They've passed a papal bull, a bullus, a seal. They've buried it under the Vatican, allegedly. We don't know that for sure. So now what they've done is they've made four trusts, three working trusts, and nobody's argued back. So I'm a little bit concerned. I'm a little bit concerned about what Kevin Annett's doing, because I think he's trying to go back to common law courts, which is a great idea, and I commend him for everything he's doing. I've just got this feeling maybe looking at it slightly wrong, because common law courts have been ignored, aren't we? We know that daily. Can you take the vicar of God? Can you take him to court and all his associates? If he's the next one down from God, is he above common law? I think he is. Does common law apply to this criminal organisation? I don't know. Maybe we ought to be thinking, and this is what I mean about getting proactive and trying to come up with something and supporting Kevin and everybody else. I think we ought to really be looking at it in a different way and thinking about these trusts, because I'm always a big advocate of mirroring back what they're doing to us. Just mirror it back to them. And they've used trust against us, so why can't we turn it around and use it against them? So I don't know how knowledgeable Kevin Annett is, and I should imagine very, very knowledgeable, much more than me, and maybe he knows all this, but maybe it'd be interesting to find out. So, like I say, allegedly these papal bulls are buried under the Vatican. I don't know that for sure. That might be just hearsay. So that's the trusts. That's the trust that has set us where we are. So that's the Pope, the lovely Pope, who's all sweetness and light, all under the guise of we love Jesus Christ, live like Jesus. I'm not knocking Jesus. I'm not knocking Christians. But I am knocking them bastards, basically. So, let's have a bit of a tune, and I'll come back, because there's something really important. And now, we're all looking at the Pope, and he is a twat, evil twat, like the rest of them. But I want to just tell you something about these Jesuits, because I really strongly think that these are the ones calling the shots, making the final decisions. And I want to tell you about how you get to be a Jesuit, and the oath you have to swear. But before I do that, let's put a song on. I'm RP on this week, aren't I? I'm talking bollocks, aren't I? Right. Oh, I'll tell you what. Going back to Paul Giovanni's show the other day, he played a lyric from, what's that Norbert singer called? Yeah, Justin Bieber. He played a lyric from a Justin Bieber song, and honestly, it was like a 2-year-old bloody kid had written it. And Paul made a really, really good point, and he said, have you noticed today, pop artists and stuff, there's no talent, it's just regurgitated shit, innit? And I thought, yeah, Paul, you're right, as usual. But I thought, yeah, mate, you're right. And I can think of Ed Sheeran, who's in mainstream, and I think he's a pretty talented kid. And I thought, yeah, Paul, you're right. Today's modern music is just brainwashing our young people. There's no real talent and artists like they were 20, 30 years ago. But then I remembered I came across a young kid, a great kid called MC Xander, spelled with a Z actually. And so I thought, well, I'll get it on my show. Now, it might not be your sort of music, and it's not, maybe it's not my kind of music, but there's this kid called MC Xander, and he's got a machine, and it's called, I don't know, I forgot it, his name escapes me now. But all he does is, now bear in mind, this song has got no music whatsoever, as in no musical instrument playing it. Everything he does with his mouth. A bit like remember those, I don't know, those beatboxers, you know, the ones that go, you know, they sound like they've got bloody epilepsy and Tourette's mixed up, don't they? They're non-stop. But I think this kid's from that sort of background. What he does is he records sounds with his mouth, and he builds a song up from scratch right in front of your eyes. And the machine plays it back out. Now, he can alter the tone and stuff, but everything he does in this song, he does with his mouth. There's no musical instruments whatsoever. So this is a real artist as far as I'm concerned. And to make it even better, this kid knows all about what's happening. So if you can understand his lyrics, you can put this up on YouTube and get the lyrics. It's brilliant. So this kid really does know what's happening. So I'll play you this, and I'll see you in about... It's a bit long, actually. It's about 5 minutes long, but give me time to have a tiddle. So I'll see you in 5. Good, that, wasn't it? I like that. Yeah, I thought it was brilliant. I'm just going to go into the chat room. Oh, right. Yeah, Philip, Lisa, that was a guy called MC Xander. Xander spelled with an X. X-A-N-D-E-R, I think. Good, that, wasn't it? To say there's no musical instruments whatsoever. So there is talent out there amongst the young people. We've just got to look for it. And quite good lyrics, better than Bieber's anyway, wasn't it? So MC Xander, yeah, brilliant. He does some other stuff. In fact, I might play another one next week called, what's it called? Oh, it's called Gnosis. Oh, that's a pretty good one as well. Yeah, so I'm getting back to this shower that's hide away in the Vatican. Now, I could go on forever and ever and ever, but obviously we're limited for time as usual. So what I wanted to talk about on this section is the Jesuits. That a lot of people have heard of the Jesuits. We don't really know what they are. And like I say, the leader of the Jesuits is Superior General. There's a title for you, isn't it? The Superior General, he's the one in charge. He works in tandem with the Pope. Any dodgy stuff they want doing, black operations, people bumping off, they just send in the Military Order of Malta, the Knights of Malta, the military people. So they're the hitmen. So I got studying these Jesuits, and I thought, well, I've heard of this. I was brought up as a Catholic, being from an Italian family anyway. So we were taught that the Pope was all holy and stuff. And I'd heard of the Jesuits, and I thought, well, they're just part of it. So when I got this new information through, in fact, I got this through quite recently, really, I thought, well, I'll study these Jesuits, Jesus as in Jesuits, the Society of Jesus, and see what they are. Well, I got a bit of a shock when I really found out. These are the ones that are, in my opinion, pulling the strings and calling the shots. And I found, to become a Jesuit, you've got to have, I think, I might be wrong here, but I think your family have got to be a certain bloodline. And I think you've got to have had a coat of arms for the last 300 years. So these people are handpicked anyway. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that's some information I came across a few months ago. And I thought, well, what is a Jesuit then? How do you get to be a Jesuit? So I started researching, like I do, you know, I stick my head in a book or I get on the internet and I get going. And I found out an oath that the Jesuits swear. Now this oath is called the Extreme Oath of Induction. And I thought, well, fuck me. And when I read it, it's unbelievable. And this is why I think this is the institution, the 3 sections to it, that is running and controlling everything. And I'm going to read you, I can't read the whole oath goes on forever and ever and ever. And so what I thought I'd do is, I've got a section of this oath that I've jotted on some paper here, because it's, honestly chaps, it's fucking unbelievable. Now these are the people that are running things. These are supposed to be followers of Jesus. They're supposed to be the link between us and Jesus, and then spread the word of God, spread the word of Jesus, and so we can all live in a great righteous world, live like Jesus did and go to heaven. Now just listen to this oath that they swear. Give me 2 minutes, because this is unbelievable. Okay. So, the extreme oath of induction to become a Jesuit. So, This text I'm going to read you, now, this is not hearsay, this is down on record, and this text is recorded, see if I can get this right, in the journals of the 62nd Congress, 3rd Session of the United States Congressional Record, House Calendar number 397, Report number 1523, recorded on the 15th of February 1913. So, it's not me just talking bollocks, this is well documented, it's in many books. Quite a few people have written about this. So, this is how somebody becomes a Jesuit and swears an oath. Bear in mind the Superior General was that Adolfo Nicholas Tosspot, whoever he is. Back to Tosspots again. So, the initiate, the Jesuit, the man who wants to become it's on male only, by the way. So that tells you something straight away, doesn't it? So, the initiate, the Jesuit, is conducted into the chapel of the Covenant of the Order. Now, we talk about satanic stuff and Luciferianism. Just listen to this, chap. This is unbelievable. And I want to get serious now because I want us to do something about this. And I'm going back to Paul's show, both Pauls, two Pauls. And Paul Giovanni, I want to say thanks to you this week because after the show on Wednesday, I think it was Paul Rippon's show. Like I said, I sat there and I thought, Paul's right. We've got to stop talking about it and we've got to fucking do something about this. Do something about these psychos because there's going to be nothing left for us. And I'm committed now. We're going to have a rest tomorrow. It's Sunday tomorrow. And this is just, this oath that I'm just about to read you out, well, only a section of it it's just reinforced that we need to do something. We need to do something now. We need to get together. And I keep saying it. Tonight's theme is there's no excuses, guys. There is no excuses to either sit on your arse, be apathetic and not do anything. We've run out of excuses. Time for sitting in your bedroom sending positive vibes out. We can still do that. Time for just going on chat rooms, swapping information. I can be on here every week giving you new information you're gonna think, wow, that's interesting. But what's it all for, guys, if we're not doing anything? We need to get off as fucking arses. And now this has just reinforced it. So Paul and Paul, you are both right, and you've stirred something in me, and I think we're going to get on it. But I'm just going to read you this now because I'm rabbiting on. So this is just one section of the oath. This is just a bit I've picked out. Okay. So, the initiate, like I told you, I'm just getting to a P.A.C.E. Yeah, okay. So he swears this oath with 3 people present. He's got a monk on either side, and he's got the Superior General, stood in front of him at the altar. I'm just setting the scene for you here before I read you the bit of the oath. So there's a skull and crossbones, papal colours, a black banner with a dagger, a red cross, and the word INRI, I-N-R-I. I don't know if anybody religious people know, but supposedly on the crucifix when Jesus was crucified, it had the letters INRI, I-N-R-I, and it was supposedly stood for Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. And below these, the initiate and the superior and the monks, are the words Iustrum Necar Regis Impius, INRI basically. So now we know INRI does not mean Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews. So the literal translation of the Latin Iustrum Necar Regis Impius means it is just to exterminate or annihilate impious or heretical kings, governments or rulers. So this is the start of the Jesuit oath. So the initiate is handed a black cross whilst he is kneeling, which he takes in his left hand and presses it to his heart. And at the same time, he is presented with a dagger. Now, bear in mind, these fucking lunatics are running stuff. He is presented with a dagger, which he grasps by the blade and holds the point of it to his heart, whilst the superior holds the handle of the dagger, as it is pressed against the initiate's heart, and then the superior speaks. After he's finished speaking, the initiate swears a blood oath using real blood and cutting open his chest. Now, remember, this is documented evidence. He swears a blood oath using real blood. He cuts himself open and he swears to Jesus, Mary, John the Baptist, St. Paul, St. Peter, and most of all, he swears to the Superior General of the Society of Jesus, the Jesuits. Okay, so I've pulled you out one section of his oath here. Okay, so part of his oath, now he's already rabbited on for a long time, a bit like myself, but he's rabbited on, and this section, that he has to swear in blood, and he swears allegiance to the Superior General and the Pope, but mainly the Superior General, and has to do absolutely everything that his gaffer tells him. And part of his oath is, and I'm quoting now, I do further promise and declare that I will, when opportunity presents itself, make and wage relentless war, secretly and openly, against all heretics, in other words, non-Catholics or Catholics that aren't doing as they're supposed to do. So secretly and openly against all heretics, Protestants and Masons, as I am directed to do, to extirpate them from the face of the whole earth, and that I will spare neither age, sex, nor condition, and that I will, and now this is the bit that makes me feel sick, and that I will hang, burn, waste, boil, flay, strangle, and bury alive these infamous heretics, rip up the stomachs and wombs of their women, and crush their infants' heads against the walls in order to annihilate their execrable race. I mean, guys, what the fuck? Who are these people? Where are they from? I mean, what sort of mindset have they got? So I hate that bit, so I'm going to carry on. That when the same cannot be done openly, I will secretly use the poisonous cup, the strangulation cord, the steel of the poniard, which is a small dagger, the steel of the poniard, or the leaden bullets, regardless of the honour, rank, dignity, or authority of the persons, whatever may be their condition in life, either public or private, as I at any time may be directed to do so by any agents of the Pope or Superior of the Brotherhood of the Holy Father of the Society of Jesus. In other words, the Superior General of the Jesuits. Well, fuck me sideways. The oath, that's just a section. It goes on and on and on. Guys, they're murdering us. They don't give a toss. They want to murder us. They've sworn allegiance to the Superior General. This is what I mean about hierarchical. I can never say that. Hierarchical corporations, cults, which it is a cult, whatever. They swear allegiance and they've got one gaffer, and this is the type of things. I'm just, sorry, I've just got a message through. It sounds like you're... Oh, right. Is the sound not coming through too good, guys? I'm just going to dip into the chat room. Are we all right? Can anybody in the chat room just tell me, has my voice come back all right, or is it bubbling away, or... Anybody send me a message in this chat room? I'm just going to have a quick look. Sorry to... Anybody? Oh, does it sound fine? Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Lisa. I was shitting myself then, thinking, am I just sat here talking to myself? Yep, that's all right, because I thought it were all bubbling and sound like I'm underwater. Yeah, so these people that are running things, they're not people, are they? They want to exterminate them themselves, but we can't do it, can we? We can't do it. So, going back to Kevin Annett, wonderful job, absolutely wonderful job. We need to mirror what they're doing, because they've done it all by trust. That's all they've done. Express Trust was the first one, and that's all they've kind of done, really. So, I want to get kind of serious now, because that's my opinion of who's running things and who's calling the shots. Now, I'm about, I don't know, I'm 90% sure, and if anybody can come back with any sort of evidence that says they're not, then that's okay, and I suppose it doesn't really matter who's in charge, because they're all a bunch of psychos. But we've got to get proactive now, and I keep saying it, and tonight's theme is there is no excuses anymore. Time's running out, and I keep saying it, but now I really do mean it. I've been guilty of this myself. I've been doing talk presentations, I've started doing this show, I've been helping loads of people with who are in debt, trying to help them out, and I'm proactive myself. I don't pay council tax, I don't pay TV license, I don't even pay electric and gas. I don't pay any bills. I don't pay any loans. The only thing I pay is my mortgage, because I had to back down and I almost got kicked out. So I'm working on that, and I think I've come up with a great solution. So that's been proactive. I put petrol in the car and feed the kids, and I pay me telephone. That's the only bill, you know. I don't mind paying is me internet bill, because it's brilliant. But apart from that, my mortgage, I don't pay any bills, I don't pay anything. And, you know, no one's ever taken me to court successfully over money. Nobody. And that's because I know the trust thing is such an important part of this. And it is an important part, because I've mirrored this trust thing back at them. And now, anybody's claiming that I owe them money, in any way, shape or form, has never taken me to court, because I've mirrored back this trust. And this is what I'm getting at, everyone. This is what I'm trying to get at. The imposition, the injustice, the suffering that's around the world, it's been done by trusts. And I keep saying we need to mirror it back. And I keep saying we need to find a formula. And for me, until somebody can come up with something better, this is the formula. This is what we need to do. So I'm going to play another song here, because, and keep this to yourself, don't tell anybody, but I need a tiddle. So, I'm going to play this song, and then we're going to get a bit more serious now and think about what we can do as a body of people to get things moving. Now, some people think, well, what's the point of fighting them? And I'm not saying fight them. I've stopped fighting them 2-3 years ago, because we can't fight them. They've got the super intelligence, they've got all the weapons, they've got the backup, they've got the militia, they've got the police, the army, they've even got their own militia, haven't they? Every organisation, in my view, is subservient to this Vatican cult, incorporating these horrible Jesuits and these Knights of Malta. So I believe, saying that word again, I really strongly feel that Kevin Annett is going to it. He's getting for the top brass, basically. And I think being proactive is a way we can support him, can't we? So let's mirror it back. Let's forget about fighting. And I know it's wrong to fight, and we can't beat them anyway. So what we need to do is we need to mirror them back. We need to learn. We need to get smart. Paul Rippon on this show said, let's get smart. And he's right, let's get smart. They use words. I'm going to cover a little bit about words in a bit. Words, they've enslaved us with words. They've tricked us with words. And I like where Paul Rippon was coming from, because he said everything's a sound vibration. Everything is a vibration, a tone. And we can speak our own reality. We can speak it into existence. But you've got to learn the words. It's not hard. Let's just have a little bit on words, and let's look at words differently. I know Paul Giamone's now started looking at words a bit different. And I think you can interpret words. I think there's many different interpretations. And so let's learn the words, and let's, in a way, that is mirroring it back. So I'm going to play a song now, because I'm down for a tiddle, and I'll see you back in about 3 minutes. And then I want to get serious. I want to talk about what we can do as a body of people. Get responsible, get organised, allocate positions, allocate who's got strengths. We've all got strengths, we've all got talents. Let's dish them out. Let's meet together once a month or whatever it is, and let's fucking take it to them. And end of the day, what choice have we got? There is no choice. So there's no excuses now. Let's get going. Okay, I'll see you in about 2 or 3 minutes. And when I can find this song, which I have, I'll go and have a nice relaxing tiddle. See you in a bit. Yeah, so I want to cover a favourite topic of Paul Rippon's here, because he's like me. He's studied words and language. In fact, he knows far more than I do. But I like words. I used to like poetry and stuff. Do you know, I once wrote a poem at school, and it was a really good poem. I think I was only about 15. And I ended it in a really strange way. I put this really good poem together, and how did I end it now? I said, and the sands of time faded slowly, like the piss stain on a tramp's vest. I thought, what the hell? Anyway, it was a good poem apart from the ending. I just thought I'd tell you that. So it sounded better like that, didn't it? I liked it better. So very fitting for the Olympics, wasn't it? So the reason I played it backwards is, I've been studying words for quite a while now. And same as Paul Rippon, I like it. You can just break them down, and you can make all sorts with them. So I wrote down some words here that are pretty crackers, really. So this language that we've all been using, we've not really known what we were saying, really. We've been casting spells, if you like. But like Paul Rippon says, we now know the words used against us. And so what I'm saying is we can mirror them back. I like the way Paul's thinking, because he says we'll speak things and they become real. They become our reality. We'll speak them into reality. So I've jotted down quite a few words here. And I'll tell you the meaning. This is not even legalese. the language of the law that have got totally different meanings, haven't they? These are just everyday language that we think we use. And I strongly think that these were invented, these words, or the whole language thing was invented as a kind of sorcery to change a vibrational sound. A harmonic resonance, actually, because everything is sound vibration. So I'm going to say a few words here and see if you can see the meanings now. We break them down and what they mean. So let's have a look. What have we got here? We've got, that's a good one. Entertain, or entertainment. Okay, well, we know ment comes from mentos, meaning mind. So entertain. So, entertain, entrain. Very, very similar. Sound very similar. Entrain means, this is a dictionary definition of entrain, to adjust an internal rhythm of an organism so that it synchronizes with an external cycle such as that of light and dark. So entrain means to adjust an internal rhythm. So we think we're being entertained, but we're being entrained. You go to a public building and you see the words above the door, entrance, basically to enchant, to put in a trance, to hypnotize. We know government means govern is control and mentos is mind, so that's mind control. Secretary, one who keeps records, keeper of secrets. What else have we got? We've got, oh, that's a good one. I hear people saying, oh, I'm disillusioned. Well, disillusioned means to free from or deprive of illusion. Well, that's a good thing, isn't it? You want to be disillusioned. You want to be free from illusion and deprived of illusion. It also means to disenchant. What else have we got? Well, we know we've got spelling at school, and we know people write at school, don't they? Writes. Is it right? As in W-R-I-T-E, or is it right? As in R-I-G-H-T? Or is it rituals, as in R-I-T-E, rites? So, loads of meaning there, innit? Incidentally, you go to school, don't you? The school of fish. Yeah, probably. So we have exercises, and we have lessons, don't we, at school? Lessons to make smaller, so to stop you getting more intelligent, to lessen it. We do exercise like P.E., don't we? Is it exercise, or is it exorcism? What else? What other words have we got? Oh, enlighten. Well, that's a good word. Everyone wants to be enlightened. Now, everyone thinks it's seeing the light, but there's another word. Can you become enlightened by actually being lighter? Can your soul soar up by becoming lighter? So it's a two-way thing, isn't it? It's light as in light, but it's also to make lighter and become more knowledgeable. Oh, this is a good one. Defraud. A friend of mine about 15 years ago, he got took to court for claiming bloody housing benefit and stuff when he shouldn't have been working and stuff. And this is about 15 years ago, this. They did him for about 17 grand's worth, and he says, Robert, you come to court with me. And back in those days, I knew nothing about court. And I just went to support him. And he got in trouble. And the barrister said, we've got the evidence. And the judge says, you've been found guilty of defrauding the DHSS, which it was then. I thought, hang on a minute. Fraud's a crime, which it is. So to defraud, well, is that not a good thing? That's a good thing. So I thought of that all the way back then. So let's finish off with a few more words. Sanity, that's a good one. Is it sanity? Or is it sanitize? Cleansing of the mind. So these are all pretty interesting words, aren't they? And I saw, sorry, I'm pausing because I've got, as usual, the paper fairies being again. Okay, got it. Yeah, I want to say a few more here, but I like these because they sometimes group two words together, like defraud. This is good. You know when two planes almost have an accident, what do they call it? They call it a near miss, don't they? Hey? A near miss? Well, it's not, is it? They almost crashed, don't they? It's a near hit, isn't it? So why do we call it a near miss? You know, we just use these words, don't we? It'd be a crash, wouldn't it? So, a near miss now. And then last one, because there's millions of words to choose from. You know, I'm paper rustling here like you've never known. Let's see if there's any more interesting ones just before I've done. Oh, Mister. Mister's good. Mister comes from mystery, by the way. But anyway, I'm on about two words or three words grouped together. What about this one? Criminal justice system. Now, I hear this all the time as I'm doing my research. The criminal justice system is justice for the criminals that are running things. Heresy, hearsay, same thing. So that's about it, really. Last one is, I was having my breakfast the other day, and I was reading the cereal packet. I was having cereals, so I thought, well, I'll read the packet, you know, like you do. And it said, shredded wheat made from whole wheat. Hey? Hang on a minute. Is it fucking shredded, or is it whole? Make your mind up. So we just accept these words, don't we, without thinking, oh, that's a silly example, but I don't even like shredded wheat. There's crap, aren't they? Yeah, but we just accept words. We don't give a thought to what they mean. We just accept them and we spew them back out and we use them, don't we? So the reason I played you that EastEnders thing is pen. Yep, it's working. You've all heard of, I'm sure you've heard of well, I know you've heard of it, backmasking. Well, backmasking, it was allegedly made very popular by John Lennon. Oh, my screen's gone all blank. Oh, it's back. You're all right. Yeah, backmasking is when you write lyrics or say words, you play it backwards, and it comes up with a totally different meaning. That's why I did the EastEnders thing. And we all know about Barack Obama, don't we? When he became president, what was the big thing they shouted in America? Yeah, that's it. Yeah, yes, we can. Yes, we had all the people waving American flags and he jumping about. This Barack Obama. Shouting and chanting again, harmonics, shouting, yes we can, that was his catchphrase. And so somebody found out that when you reverse the speech, as we know, it comes up, thank you Satan, doesn't it? I'm just going to take a swig of water, 2 seconds. Good stuff. This is water, excuse me, filtered and done by reverse osmosis, so I've got all the fluoride out of that and it tastes beautiful. So yeah, I'm carrying on. So where was I? Oh yeah, yes we can equals thank you Satan. He's got thousands and thousands of people, probably millions, all chanting thank you Satan. Got to have an effect somewhere, hasn't it? And I listen to this John Lennon stuff and other bands, and you play the lyrics backwards and it's got a different meaning. So my son, he's only 12, Harrison. He's got one of those Android phones. And so we thought, oh, we'll have a bit of a laugh, like, he's got a recording facility on it, and he can play it backwards. So we tried Yes We Can, and it did come back out as Thank You Satan. So we thought, oh, we'll try some other stuff, and you're not going to believe it, and it might be coincidence, it might be bollocks, and this is the last bit of light-hearted stuff I want to do, because I want to get serious after this. So we tried a few words, and you're not going to believe what came out. And this is me and my son on his Android phone, with a recording facility, and we're saying stuff and playing it backwards. So we said the word evil, and it came out as horny. Strange. What about this? The restaurant of the Olympics, the feeders of the Olympics. McDonald's came out as Lunar Man. Unbelievable. But it don't always work out like you think, because then we put in Lunar Man, and it came out as Man on the Moon. Very strange. Take your clothes up. Take off your clothes was fuck yes. Moses, there's the one. 666 was yes, yes, yes. Alright. No, no, no was when. Microsoft for scam. Adolf Hitler came out as hell is for that. Nuclear, hell is good. Very strange. What about this one? Osama bin Laden came out in reverse as long live the martyrs. There's got to be something in this, haven't there, fellas and ladies, sorry. There's got to be something in this. What have we got left? Oh yeah, pyramids equaled backwards C. Maria. Oh, this one's horrible. Queen Elizabeth came out backwards as serve misery in you. And finally, oh this is good, yeah, finally, we put in Olympics, and it came out as scared melee. Melee in Italian means 1,000. So Olympics, played backwards, was scared melee. So I thought, well, that sounds like millions. So I told my son to say scared millions into his phone, and in reverse, it came out as the Olympics. Wow. So there's definitely something in words, isn't there? Definitely something in words. So we're going to mirror it back. We're going to copy what they've done, and we're going to use our own words. And like Paul Rippon says, we're going to use our own words, and we're going to create our own reality through our own words, through our own harmonics. And this is where I want to get serious now. We are in trouble, I tell you what, and it's really hit home this week. That's why after Paul Rippon's show I sat there and I thought, it was like a massive rucksack full of bricks had actually been lifted off my shoulders. And I'll tell you why, because I know how much trouble we've been in, and maybe I've been a bit guilty, and in fact I have been a bit guilty of, I've been frustrated because I know other people in the truth movement, and a lot of people, they're all trying their bits, and fair play to them, and I'm really chuffed to be part of it all. But I don't think that 90% of the truth movement really, really do know what sort of trouble we're in, and how far down this road we've gone now. There is no time to waste. In my opinion, and I know it's right because I feel it in my heart, that every day that goes by now is a day less for us. Paul Giovanni gave me a kick up arse. So did Paul Rippon. So did the guest Paul Rippon had on. We need to move, because every day that we sit here, they're not sat there, are they? Those elitists, what are they doing? They're on it 24/7. They've had a couple of thousand years head start than us, haven't they? And like I said last week, there's a team working on it, focused attention, non-stop. They're on it 24/7, aren't they? When a team finishes working for those elitists, what happens? They move out and a team's straight back in. They're on it, aren't they? And that's what we need to do. Like I say, we need to mirror them. They call themselves the enlightened ones, don't they? The Illuminati, yeah, but they're always in the shadows. Let's shine a torch on them. Let's turn this torch on and fucking shine it back on them. Let's see these psychos that stood in the shadows, the background, the Jesuits and the rest of them in the backgrounds. Let's shine a light on them. Let's put a spotlight on them and see how they feel. Let's light them up and show people what they are. So let's get on it and let's get focused. So this is the main theme tonight. Is no excuses. So let's have a bit of a song, and then, because we get times, bloody hell, time's getting on, isn't it? It's 12:42, 21:42, so it's 9:42. So on my list here, okay, I'm going to play one song, and then we're going to finish off, and I really want us to get our heads together, think about what we're doing, have a good rest tomorrow, and then Monday morning I'm going to be texting Paul Giovanni, and I know he's got a lot of plans, and don't forget the homeless stuff, the homeless song, the chemtrail song, 26th of August I think it is. We're all going to download that, and we do need solutions, and we do need to work together, and so let's get off as horses, let's all have a rest tomorrow, and Monday morning, let's get going. So I'm just going to play a quick song now, and I keep losing, do you know, I'm crap on this playlist. Okay, it only lasts about 3 or 4 minutes, so I'll play this and I'll see you back in 4 minutes. Yeah, I don't know what's wrong there. The music seems all over the place, and I'm having trouble turning my mic off, so you may have heard me picking my nose and stuff, but anyway, not to worry, these things happen, don't they? Yeah, so it's getting close to finishing up now, so I don't really want to mess about anymore. So that song seems all over the place, but that was Tom Petty anyway, and Free Falling. Yeah, so I'm going to be finishing off now. Oh, Lisa's just said it sounds okay to us. Oh, well, it sounds all dodgy here, so up and down. So I want to play your last piece anyway. So anyway, we've had a bit of a laugh. Well, kind of a laugh with this Olympic stuff, and the backmasking words was sound. But I want to get serious now. I know I keep saying it. I don't want to be a misery. It's a Saturday night. You could be out drinking beer and having a laugh or whatever you're doing, and you're stuck in here with me, aren't you, Rob Freeman? Oh, incidentally, I think I've got an email. If anyone wants to email me here at the show, it's outofthematrix@criticalmassradio.co.uk, I think. Yep, I believe that's right. I can't read my own writing. Yeah, so I do want to get serious now, because we can have a laugh and we can have some entertainment, but we all know what's happening, and we all know we want it stopping. And so, in my opinion, humanity is in serious trouble, big trouble, really. We need to get cracking, guys, don't we? We need, like I said, we need to get together and do something, get proactive. You know, I'd rather die on my feet than live on my knees. And so, you know, this is what's spurring me on. This week's changed me. I've been a bit down this week. I think I said it in the chat rooms earlier. I know why I'm down. It's because I know we need to do it, because the time is crucial now. We don't have leaders, do we, in this world? We have misleaders. Governments, what are they? They're there for one reason, aren't they? To control us for our masters, for our slave masters. Why are we looking to leaders anyway? Why do we want... Who has a lead? A dog has a lead, doesn't it? To be led around so we can follow. No, we don't need leaders, and we certainly don't need misleaders. And, you know, we can't depend on other men to lead us. We don't need to lead us, like I said before, like I said last week. We don't need anybody to lead us. We follow our moral compass of our heart, and we join together, and we do it together now. So many people are trying to do it on their own. We're all trying to do it on our own. We're going to come up with solutions, and we're going to do it. I mean, we should be asking the question anyway, who is leading us, and where are they taking our human family? Where are they actually taking us? We know where they're taking us. They're taking us straight to fucking hell, aren't they? I mean, the people who are guiding the destiny of this world are unbelievably evil and unbelievably sick, aren't they? And this agenda we keep hearing about, the New World Order, it's not a body of people, it's their agenda. This fucking agenda of theirs is profoundly evil, isn't it? It's that evil that a normal person on the street, a normal man or woman on the street, they wouldn't even be able to contemplate it, would they? So I really strongly think that we truly are living in the final days of the old world order. For this new world order, like I said last week, is coming in, but it's not their new world order, it's a natural world order. Guys, we've got an opportunity here. We've got a window of opportunity, and we can't let it slip by. This is time now. This is time for us. This is time to step up, not next year, not next month, and not next week. It's have a rest tomorrow, Monday morning. Let's get up and on it. Let's swap emails. Let's send text messages. Let's get together. Let's fucking do something. The old world order is out, and a new natural world order is coming in. The old world disorder, if you like. It has to collapse for this new age, this new era. All the planets lining up, like I said. There's a new paradigm coming in. We're on the cliff's edge of a whole new paradigm, and it's coming to Earth. So let's be ready for it. Let's be prepared. Let's do it now. Let's not wait. Let's not wait for the other side. The mafiosi who are psychotic, out of control now. They've got nothing. They've got intelligence. They've got the arms, as we know. They've got the control of the power, but they haven't got us. They haven't got our human spirit. We know what's happening. So let's move now. This new paradigm that's coming in, it's twofold. This is duality, isn't it? When it ushered in. I'm conscious here of our time, so I want to rush. There's two choices when this paradigm comes in. What do we want? Do we want theirs, what the slave masters have engineered for us for a long time? Do we want their new world order? Or do we want ours, our natural world order? The one where we've already connected back with the universe, connected back with our spirituality. That's the one we want, isn't it? Where we've connected up with everybody else, with every other man, woman and child in this world. And we've connected back up with everything living on this planet and the whole planet itself. We know we want to live in peace and freedom and with abundance, don't we? I know it's what I want, but in order to do that, we've got to be proactive now. We've got to do it now. We've got to support Kevin Annett. We've got to support the homies with the song, but it's still not enough. We've got to come up with ideas. We've got to join together. We've got to get teams together, and we've got to fucking take it to, and let's shove it right up them. If their paradigm is ushered in, it'll be the most horrific, most diabolical, and most evil thing that I think has ever happened to this earth. Unless we act now, not react, let's act now. Let's get in first. Let's get off as fucking horses. Let's come together and unite. Paul Rippon's right. Paul Giovanni's right. There is only one option, and let's get it done. The theme of this show tonight, and I'm running out of time, was no excuses. I hope my mic turns off. There is no excuses. There's no time to be apathetical. There's no time to wait. There's no excuses. Let's get cracking. Let's have a rest tomorrow, and let's get going.